A clean energy deal is quietly reshaping the map of global power. While Washington raises tariffs and clings to fossil exports, Ottawa is building a bridge across the Atlantic to a partner that leads the world in offshore wind and green hydrogen. This is more than an energy agreement. It's a strategic alignment the U.S. may not be able to stop. Today, we're diving into Canada and Denmark's clean energy deal the U.S. can't stop. Welcome to Geo Capitalist, where we decode global wealth one power shift at a time. If you want to see the hidden forces behind trade, infrastructure, and global finance, subscribe now because the stories shaping tomorrow's markets are unfolding right now. In early 2025, Canada took a decisive step to accelerate its renewable energy transformation by joining the Global Offshore Wind Alliance, a coalition of countries committed to scaling offshore wind projects and cutting emissions in line with global climate targets. For Ottawa, it wasn't just a climate move, it was a market move. Canada's Atlantic provinces, especially Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, are now central to this vision. Both have the coastline, the wind resources, and the political will to attract billions in investment. The federal government is fast-tracking environmental reviews and introducing financial incentives to draw in global clean energy leaders. That's where Denmark comes in. With decades of experience, Denmark is the undisputed pioneer of offshore wind, home to companies like Ørsted that design, build, and operate some of the largest wind farms in the world. Danish engineering know-how and Canadian natural resources form a powerful combination, one that can produce some of the cleanest electricity and green hydrogen available anywhere. The partnership also gives Canada something more subtle: a foothold in Europe's renewable energy market. By working with Denmark, Canada gains not only technology and investment, but access to a continent where clean energy demand is rising faster than supply. For both countries, this is not a short-term contract. It's the first chapter of a long-term strategy to secure influence in the most competitive energy market on Earth. If Canada brings resources and geography to the table, Denmark brings something even more valuable: mastery. Today, more than half of Denmark's electricity generation comes from wind, making it one of the most renewable-powered nations on the planet. Its grid integrates both onshore and offshore wind with remarkable stability, a model many countries are still struggling to replicate. This leadership is about to expand dramatically. Denmark is building two massive energy islands, one in the North Sea and another in the Baltic, that will serve as hubs for offshore wind farms and green hydrogen production. The North Sea hub alone will begin with 3 gigawatts of capacity and could scale to 10 gigawatts by the mid-2030s, enough to power millions of homes. The total investment? Around $30 billion, backed by both public funds and private capital. By 2030, Denmark's target is clear: at least 50% of its total energy consumption from renewables, while becoming a major exporter of green hydrogen to strengthen Europe's energy security. That includes supplying partners like Germany, already a customer for Danish wind power and a future buyer of hydrogen. For Canada, this matters because partnering with Denmark means tapping directly into these European energy flows. Offshore wind projects, built in Canadian waters, could eventually feed green hydrogen exports through the same networks Denmark is building for Europe. In a world where energy independence and carbon compliance are shaping trade policy, Denmark isn't just a partner. It's a gateway to the fastest-growing clean energy market on Earth. In May 2025, the Clean Energy Alliance between Canada and Denmark moved from vision to execution. That month, Alberta Innovates, the province's leading research and innovation agency, signed a formal memorandum of understanding with Denmark's Ministry of Energy. The focus: accelerating collaboration in carbon capture, utilization, and storage, CCUS, and advancing the production of green hydrogen. CCUS is critical for heavy industries like steel, cement, and oil sands, sectors that face mounting pressure to meet net zero targets. Alberta has some of the most advanced pilot projects in North America, while Denmark is investing heavily in carbon storage infrastructure beneath the North Sea. Together, they can scale solutions that neither could achieve alone. Hydrogen is the other pillar of the deal. Denmark's offshore wind capacity makes it a natural leader in producing green hydrogen, generated without fossil fuels. Canada, with vast renewable resources and established energy export infrastructure, can complement that capacity with supply diversity and North American market access. In June 2025, trade delegations from both countries met to explore joint ventures, from hydrogen shipping routes to CCUS technology licensing. The talks also focused on aligning regulatory frameworks so that hydrogen produced in one country could be certified and sold seamlessly in the other's markets. These agreements are more than technical cooperation. They lay the groundwork for a transatlantic clean energy corridor, one that links Canada's resource wealth with Denmark's engineering expertise and Europe's growing demand for low-carbon fuels. For the U.S., watching from the sidelines, it's a reminder that the energy transition is being shaped far beyond its borders. Beneath the headlines about wind farms and hydrogen pipelines lies a broader story. Canada and Denmark already have a solid economic foundation to build on. In 2024, bilateral trade in goods reached $2.7 billion, with Canadian exports worth $472 million and services exports adding another $739 million. It's a relationship that is small compared to Canada's trade with the U.S., but it's growing, and it's highly strategic. Energy and clean tech are the obvious drivers, but the trade portfolio is far more diverse. Canada sells Denmark everything from raw materials and seafood to aerospace components and life sciences innovations. Denmark, in turn, exports advanced pharmaceuticals, green engineering solutions, and high-tech manufacturing systems to Canada. The overlap in strengths is striking. Denmark leads in renewable integration, energy-efficient infrastructure, and advanced manufacturing, while Canada brings abundant resources, industrial capacity, and a vast geography for testing and scaling clean technologies. Together, they can co-develop solutions that have both commercial and political value, meeting climate commitments while creating exportable, market-ready products. Digitalization is another shared priority. Both countries are investing heavily in smart grids, AI-driven resource management, and cybersecurity for critical infrastructure. As these systems become the backbone of modern energy markets, Canada and Denmark's technical partnerships could extend beyond energy into the broader realm of tech-enabled trade. What's emerging is not just a series of joint projects, but a framework for long-term cooperation. When energy, technology, and trade policy move in sync, the result is leverage, the kind that allows two mid-sized economies to punch far above their weight on the global stage. Not all alliances are forged in boardrooms or at signing ceremonies. Some grow quietly, through the steady exchange of people, skills, and ideas. The Canada-Denmark relationship is strengthened not only by technology and trade, but also by a foundation of cultural and professional exchange. One of the clearest examples is the Working Holiday Agreement, part of the International Experience Canada program. It allows young Canadians and Danes to live and work in each other's countries for up to a year, giving them the chance to gain professional experience, learn new languages, and build cross-border networks. While it may seem far removed from offshore wind farms and hydrogen pipelines, this kind of mobility builds the trust and familiarity that make large-scale cooperation possible. On the corporate side, Denmark's global leaders in clean energy, companies like Ørsted, Topsoe, and Ramboll, are not just selling solutions to Canada. They are embedding teams, training local engineers, and collaborating directly with Canadian universities and research hubs. In return, Canadian companies are sharing expertise in resource management, large-scale infrastructure, and Arctic engineering. This people-first diplomacy extends beyond energy. Joint innovation workshops, academic exchanges, and co-funded research programs in areas like life sciences and digitalization create an ecosystem where knowledge flows in both directions. In an era where technology evolves faster than policy, these human links ensure that when the next clean energy breakthrough arrives, Canada and Denmark will already have the channels in place to share it and to bring it to market together. Denmark's clean energy influence extends far beyond its own borders. As one of Europe's leading renewable exporters, it plays a crucial role in supporting its neighbors' energy transitions, none more significant than Germany. With the EU's largest economy phasing out coal and nuclear power, Berlin is turning to imports of renewable electricity and, increasingly, green hydrogen to meet its industrial and climate goals. Denmark is positioning itself as a key supplier. Its vast offshore wind capacity, combined with advanced electrolysis facilities, gives it the ability to produce hydrogen at scale. This hydrogen can be piped or shipped to Germany and other EU markets, where demand is expected to surge as heavy industries decarbonize. For Canada, this is more than a European story. It's an entry point. By partnering with Denmark, Canadian producers of clean hydrogen, ammonia, or renewable power technologies can plug into the same export and distribution networks that feed Germany's market. These are not just trade routes. They are political lifelines in Europe's bid for energy independence. Denmark's model is also instructive. The country has built a regulatory and infrastructure framework, from port facilities to grid interconnectors, that accelerates renewable integration. Canadian provinces eyeing offshore wind and hydrogen exports can study and adapt these systems to reduce costs and timelines. In effect, Denmark offers Canada both a market partner and a blueprint. It's a way to bypass bottlenecks in North American trade politics and move straight into the heart of Europe's clean energy economy, alongside a partner already trusted by one of the most demanding energy markets in the world. Step back from the individual projects, and a broader pattern comes into focus. Canada's deepening partnership with Denmark is part of a deliberate strategy to diversify its alliances and reduce over-reliance on a single market, namely the United States. For decades, geography and history made that reliance inevitable. But in an era of shifting trade policies, carbon border tariffs, and volatile geopolitical currents, inevitable no longer feels safe. Denmark, for its part, is pursuing a similar recalibration. Its ambition to become a major exporter of green hydrogen and renewable power is tied to Europe's energy independence agenda, which aims to reduce reliance on fossil imports from politically unstable regions. In Canada, Copenhagen sees a like-minded partner with vast, clean energy potential and a track record of political stability. Together, they're crafting an alliance that blends resources, technology, and market access. For Canada, Denmark is more than a trade partner. It's a gateway into Europe's most advanced renewable networks. For Denmark, Canada is a foothold in North America, offering both energy collaboration and a platform for global clean tech expansion. This alignment also sends a message to Washington. The rules of the global energy game are no longer set in one capital. As clean energy becomes a driver of economic influence, mid-sized economies with complementary strengths can set their own terms and form partnerships the U.S. cannot easily block. The result is a geopolitical realignment that's quiet, calculated, and potentially transformative, one where the future of energy security is shaped in Halifax and Copenhagen as much as in Washington or Brussels. The Canada-Denmark Clean Energy Alliance is still in its early stages, but the direction is unmistakable. Over the next 5 years, watch 3 developments that could determine its long-term impact. First, the pace of offshore wind deployment in Canada. Provinces like Nova Scotia and Newfoundland have the resources and ambition, but scaling to export levels will require both infrastructure investment and regulatory agility. Denmark's expertise could be the difference between years of delays and rapid deployment. Second, the rollout of CCUS and green hydrogen cooperation under the 2025 Memorandum of Understanding. If joint projects move from pilot phase to commercial scale, both countries could position themselves as leaders in supplying low-carbon fuels to global markets. Third, Denmark's 2030 vision, becoming a major exporter of green hydrogen and a net contributor to Europe's energy security, could open the door to significant investment in Canadian projects. While no official figure has been confirmed, Danish firms are already exploring opportunities in Canadian ports, grid upgrades, and renewable manufacturing. The challenge will be sustaining momentum in the face of political change. Energy policy can shift quickly, especially when elections bring new leadership. But the deeper the integration in trade, technology, and people-to-people links, the harder it becomes to reverse course. If the trajectory holds, Canada and Denmark could establish one of the most resilient clean energy corridors in the world, a partnership built not on dependency, but on shared ambition and complementary strengths. If you found this breakdown valuable, watch our next video. It connects directly to what's unfolding. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us decode these global shifts without compromise. Let us know in the comments. Is Canada simply diversifying, or is this the start of a permanent clean energy realignment? Either way, the world is watching. This was Canada and Denmark's clean energy deal the US can't stop. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.